You. He's still going on about that. And he's still going on about that. And he's still going on about that. Oh, you.
All right, so this probably is my favorite one. This is Biz Markie, clearly.
No, what are you talking about? This is an original Rob Israel
composition.
I just came up with this. Yeah.
All right. Well,
this isn't based on a song from like almost 30 years ago by a famous musician at all.
Well, Biz Markie, of no relation to that song, he did that. You, Baby, You Got What I Need.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah. And I saw him twice live.
Oh, really?
Technically not to see him, but to see Yo Gabba Gabba.
Oh,
when we took Roger when he was like 2 and 4, so 2 years apart, and he was part of the show. Actually, he was a permanent. He had a feature on every Yo Gabba Gabba episode. So I guess when they did their tours, he'd come out and he'd get like 10 minutes, and he would do like a Biz Markie thing for 10 minutes. It was fucking awesome. I mean,
yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I read about him. I always had chalked him up to be like a one-hit wonder. Kind of mistakenly famous. And I read something like years later where they said, no, he's actually like a pretty smart businessman, and he's got like these different irons in the fire. Yeah. I guess Yo Gabba Gabba was one of them.
I mean, it was on, I don't know if it's on still now, but I mean, it had to make him a pretty penny for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing that, and he was doing the tour, and he was considered like a feature part of it.
Wow.
Like, he didn't have to do it. Like,
no.
So the fact that he came along, and they even sold some merch. There was like a special
Biz Markie
Yo Gabba Gabba shirt, which I wish I bought.
Oh, clearly, yeah.
One thing you ever seen, it's unfortunately because it was Men in Black 2, which was terrible.
I don't know if I saw the first one.
I think it was Men in Black 2, or maybe, was he? He's in one of them. Biz Markie. He's in Men in Black or Men in Black 2. And there's a part when they go in a room, because it's always like the aliens, do you remember?
Yes,
like the aliens are like disguising themselves as humans.
Right.
And then the Men in Black people would always like do something to get them to like come out and do their thing.
Yes.
And Biz Markie was kind of like, almost like a Winslow, the guy from the Police Academy.
Okay.
Like he was like a sound machine guy.
Oh.
Like he would make sounds too. Like that was like his big thing. Yeah, like he wasn't like a normal beatbox. Like he was almost like making like yeah. So I guess he's one of the aliens. So when they expose him, and he's just like
sure, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not.
Well,
I can only imitate the beginning part of Biz Markie.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was pretty awesome. And he's also kind of an odd-looking man to begin with.
He was definitely. I just remember him in his like Beethoven or Mozart gear from the video.
Yeah, it's definitely a more whimsical video.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yo Gabba Gabba had like good. They had the Ting Tings on, and they had Mark Kozlik. I think
Weezer was on.
Weezer,
yeah. We bought the CDs. And
I'll bet. Yeah,
that was definitely a property that like. You know, as Roger was younger, I think me and my wife enjoyed it more than he might. I miss you, Broby.
My wife and I went through like a They Might Be Giants phase.
That's like, a big, and we always wanted to take Roger to see them, but I think they like kids, like because they do kids concerts, which is brilliant on their part to do that.
Oh yeah.
If there's any band that translates to kids concerts, definitely them. That stuff would always sell out.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so this isn't a music episode.
We're not talking about Biz Markie. We're not talking about. We're talking about.
Although I see an opening.
There is. There's music in it.
Yes.
Like there's a rage song in the end of this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like when it ends and.
Right.
So we're going to talk about The Matrix.
The Matrix.
And what's crazy is, even though it's going to be almost March, we're almost into February. February's a fast month, blinks by. The Matrix came out 20 years ago.
Son of a gun.
In April, it'll be 20 years old. And that's insane.
That
movie is 20 years old. And I rewatched it last night. I've seen it many times, but I was like, I'm going to rewatch this one. I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about all of them. We were thinking about that. But really,
all you need to know is the first one.
First one's the best one. The two others are just... There's some good moments, but man, it's not good.
They aren't, and I liked that they tried a sequel or sequels, I guess. And I didn't hate the direction they were going, I guess, but they seemed so unessential.
I hated the second one. I like the third one better. And the third one's very bleak. The third one actually ends in a very dark way. Spoiler, guys.
Yes.
Spoiler.
Right.
This movie's 20 years old.
Yeah.
And the Matrix sequels came out in 2003. Spoiler. So too bad.
And Neo dies.
Yeah, Neo dies. Yeah, I mean,
sorry.
so that'd be like if Return of the Jedi if they killed Luke Skywalker in the end of the movie.
Right.
Like if he fights the Emperor and the Emperor fucking kills him.
Yeah, yeah.
He saves everyone, but he sacrifices himself to like save everyone. And I'm sure when they made those movies, they probably threw that idea around.
Yeah.
Because they were going to like blow up the Millennium Falcon. They were going to, they always got to toss those ideas around. So I found it very courageous on their part to kill
Neo.
Now they kind of leave it open that he might come back because Neo is like a thing, I guess, that existed before, as they implied in the Matrix.
Yeah,
like
the mythology got real twisted towards the end. Not twisted in a creepy way, but like very convoluted.
Well, the movie, okay, so like the first one's very, as crazy as the movie is, it's not a crazy, like structurally, narratively, it's not crazy. It's very easy to follow.
Yes.
It really doesn't stay that far away. It's typical origin story of a hero.
Yep.
There's a conflict. There's a resolution.
Yep.
Somebody gets hurt. They got to go save him. And they fight the big bad guy, and that's it. And
you could have made the Matrix as a Western.
Yep.
Or as a World War II caper film.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
It's a simple plot with a crazy, just a mind-blowing, like, revelations. But the problem is the Matrix sequels were just too many characters.
Yeah.
I don't like and I just hated that second one when I was seeing the theater. I didn't like what they did in Neo. It ends with him, he cracks the code. He's basically he's almost like a god.
Yes, he can bend reality to
And this is how I felt. Did you see Aquaman?
No, I have not seen
Aquaman spoiler.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aquaman at the end of the movie gets the trident, and it's like a big thing in the movie. He's got to get the trident to save the people. I don't know. He's already had a trident as revealed in Justice League, but that was like his mom's trident.
Okay.
He needs to get like the badass trident. That's his mama's trident. He needs to go get the god trident. Okay. So he gets that, and he becomes like the king of the sea. And he just becomes so freaking powerful in the end. He's like unstoppable in the end. I'm like, how can they make a sequel?
Right. Yeah.
They're gonna have to depower him because he's a god level. Like, they're like, oh, Black Manta will come back. But who cares? He's just a dude in a suit.
He's a dude in a suit.
Like, what's he going to do? And so the Matrix ends with him where he can he can break the Matrix.
Yes.
He's able to, like, see the code. He could bend it. He could do whatever he wants. I don't know what, and I guess I get what they did, though, in the sequel. They made him kind of like a Superman character more than someone that could bend the Matrix. Like, he's flying in the movie. He's very strong. He's like their secret weapon. Yeah. But he's not the level, like, he's not a god like he is in the end of the Matrix. So when you watch Matrix Reloaded, like, he's got, I never cared for the outfit he was wearing. It was like a weird, they wanted like a kind of a fake kind of looking cape when he flew to give him like a Superman feel. Like a flowing jacket.
Because the mechanics of flying are silly. Like, as a human.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people
you need some sort of.
The cape adds like it adds like a nice flowy like wings almost. People don't. Yeah. Humans don't have wings.
Yeah, people like if a guy was just flying, it would look stupid. I mean, it'd be awesome as hell because like he's flying, but yeah, okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I think that's one of the mistakes that the Matrix Reloaded makes right from the get-go is they kind of ignore the rules they already created in the first one. And then they introduce all these new characters that are...
There were a lot of characters.
Well, they got to go, you're finally getting to see Zion.
Right.
One of the main characters from the first one doesn't show up because... they must have had some falling out.
Which was
it was the guy. Okay, you know how like in the first movie, there's a guy named Tank.
Yeah.
And this is what Hollywood does sometimes, where they'll recast somebody to basically play the same role, but they're not playing that role, so they're playing like their cousin.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm his cousin. It's basically the same freaking role.
Yeah.
But they just don't want to like.
They need that type in there.
So they don't do like a Game of Thrones and replace somebody in the middle, and you realize, oh wait, that's
That's a different human. Yeah.
But you're playing that same role. That's a Game of Thrones reference.
I like it. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Well, let's stay on.
Okay, right,
because
yeah.
we're gonna get that could be its own podcast.
It could
future.
be.
We'll wait till next season starts.
Yeah.
So he is Tank, the character Tank.
Okay.
And like his brother, I forgot his brother's name.
Well, there's like
Dozer
Cypher and Dozer. Are you thinking of the little guys on Fraggle Rock?
Yeah, those are the Doozers.
The Doozers.
Yeah, the Doozers. My favorite part of the Matrix when they would build like the radish and the mustard flavor.
They were the Ewoks.
And then like the Ewoks would show up, and then I mean, fine, we're just making up something at this point.
But that would be more interesting than what we got in Matrix.
Well, Tank doesn't show up. They kill him off screen because I guess the actor had a falling out and he did something weird, and supposedly he was showing up on set to the second one. They had to like get security to get him off, which just stinks because I thought he was pretty good. I forgot the name of the actor they got to kind of play the same role.
Yeah,
and I always liked him. He was on Oz and stuff. You guys go out.
Okay, yeah, I watched Oz.
Yeah, he was the narrator on Oz.
Oh.
So the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So
I know.
So they introduced Zion,
right?
And I didn't like. Okay, so the whole plot of the Matrix is to like fight, like you're not you, you're in this like fake reality, and we're gonna like get you the fuck out of there. And
right.
We're gonna bring you to Zion, and when they talk about Zion in the first movie, Tank talks about it, tells Neo, gives him like a little hint, says like it's a constant party or whatever.
But it's like presented as like a mythical, like the viewer in the first one is thinking like,
well, you don't know what it is.
Place don't exist.
Yeah, it could be anything. I mean,
or maybe it's a fairy tale that Morpheus is telling people like,
yeah.
Just hang tight, guys, we'll be designed in no time.
Yeah, but it did exist though because the Tank was born there and he was a not like a purebred human or not like a pug. or like some Aryan dream or something. Like he wasn't built he wasn't made in a Matrix
in
pot.
In a bucket of goo.
Yeah, in a bucket of goo pot. He wasn't a battery like Neo was. So
well, that's that's the premise of the Matrix is that Neo is living his life day by day.
Yeah.
He feels something is off, like most of us do. We have this envy or what, and then. He meets Trinity in like an AOL chat room or something.
Well, he's aware of her or something. And he bumps into her in a club. He bumps into her in a club in the beginning. He does like, I don't know, he does like shady, like he works at a boring job, but then he does like work on the side.
Yeah.
So he does something for some dude. It's very unexplanatory. They're all hip and cool.
Right.
And they like invite him to the club. And he meets Trinity. Yes. And then
Carrie Ann Moss.
Yes. And then he goes back to work, and then there's like a weird meeting.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
They put a thing in his tummy.
Right.
And then he wakes up, or he gets a call. I don't know. He's told to like.
He gets a call and he's like, "You got to escape this room."
Yeah.
I watched it over the weekend too. I just watched the first one. I didn't watch. I watched some YouTube clips of Revolution and. Reloaded.
Well, okay, so when we go back to, we'll talk mostly about the Matrix.
Yeah.
And I just want to get out the sequels right in the beginning because
I
don't care about. They're just not that good. So I think the second one, like what ruins it, like is Zion, is totally like it. It's not like what it's supposed to be. It still has a hierarchy. There's still a massive class divide. There's still this like ruling class. And do you remember that? Like they were like the council.
Yes.
And they all wore these like. They all look like
White
King Midas and like...
They look like elves from Lord of the Rings.
Kind of, yeah. But they all had like jewels. And like one of them was played by that famous... which was bizarre seeing him in a movie. He's like a famous activist.
Oh, you're not talking about Cornel West.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I didn't realize that till years later. I was like, that guy always looked familiar to me. I'm like, what the fuck is Cornel West doing in this movie?
He's on PBS talking about like structural Marxism. And then like the next thing you know, he's like, we must retake Zion.
Like, yeah, what the...
Well, a lot of those people got hired, and I'll talk about this later, because a bunch of like intellectuals got hired to help make the movie.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things, Colonel West?
Cornel
West.
Colonel West is his cousin. He's in the army.
No, he talked, I saw a huge interview with him on PBS, and he talked about how the Matrix film, the original one at least, was like one of the only films in his recent memory that had like Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There we go. It had like a decent amount of black people in it, and it was pretty inclusive, and like that was his thing at the time. And
the first Matrix?
Yeah, he said that it was.
It's just Forrest Whitaker.
No.
Tank and the Doozers.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't.
No, I mean, I guess yes. For a movie in 1999, it definitely had a diverse cast.
Yes,
and it wasn't like a big deal.
No, you're right. That's what he was saying. It's like these roles weren't cast like we need a black actor to play this black role because being black is part of the It was.
But
just
I feel like
people.
the second one, the third one, were more almost lost that and almost felt like they were hitting you over the head with it more.
Yeah,
like the first one just felt like a cool movie.
Right.
It felt natural. The second and third one didn't, and I guess. Well, you know the controversy of the Matrix, right? Well, there's lots of controversy.
Well, there's a lot.
Okay, one of them is they got sued, right?
No.
Okay, so you ever heard of The Invisibles by Grant Morrison? Ooh. Which is really bizarre. Okay, so
yes.
Invisible. I never read it. I always want to. And if you saw it from if you saw the comic cover, you saw what the characters look like, you wouldn't think it looked like the Matrix. The Matrix all black leather.
Yes, it's very cyberpunk.
These are they're cyberpunk, but it's like almost like they almost look like they come from the movie Hackers. These
characters. Okay, yeah,
like more colorful.
Yeah.
And, so supposedly the plot was completely lifted from The Invisibles, and Grant Morrison sued them, which is interesting. I think he did. He won something. Well, what's interesting is that he made that for Vertigo, I think, which is owned by DC Comics, which is owned by Warner Brothers, which made The Matrix.
Right.
It's so bizarre.
A subsidiary of Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. And that happens all the time, actually.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Because I worked in a company years ago, when I said in the last podcast, where I worked for like a pay-per-view company thing, and we were only allotted certain footage to use for pay-per-view marketing. If I went online and wanted to include, because we would make these like kits, if I wanted to include other footage that was not allotted to us, the video department could sue the pay-per-view department. And I thought it was the most bizarre thing. I'm like,
that is like a Kafka-esque.
It's like the same company. What the hell? But dude, aren't we all in this together, bro? But no, not at all. No, these departments have budgets. They all have different things.
Yeah.
And you learn that. I learned that managing a team. And then when somebody would try to pilfer something from me, I'd be like, no.
Get my lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. That's my budget right there.
Right.
Yeah, it's really interesting how things like that work. How the family structure falls apart when there's a budget. But yeah, that was a big controversy. So the initial Matrix, the first one. So I'm like wondering, and that happened because the sequels came out. The first one came out in '99. The sequels took 4 years to come out, but they released two of them.
They were like boom, boom, yeah.
Yeah, it was like May and then like.
Probably October. I remember them being like a little bit apart.
I think the problem. Let me tell you, the hype for the second one was so huge.
It was huge,
but people did not like that second one, and the third one did not. And what's crazy is people didn't like the third one, and I thought the third one was so much better than the second one.
Well, I remember seeing both of them in the theater and being disappointed, but not terribly so. I
like the ending. I like the way they fight each other in the end. I like how Smith by the end point of the movie, he was like a virus and he completely took over the Matrix, and they kind of made a deal with Neo to come in and fix the Matrix.
Yes.
And then I did like the revelation, even though the movie was just, it was like basically everything that was stylistic, I can't even remember saying the word, stylish about the first movie, whatever, they overdid it and made it obnoxious.
The bullet time
and the flip kicks, and then there was some wonky CGI in the second and third movies.
Yes.
But I felt like the third movie was just better. It was they had an end point or something, so it was they had somewhere to go. The second one was meandered. I do like the part though when he walks into the room and he talks to the Colonel from the KFC about the KFC Colonel. He tells him the story about the Matrix and how what he knew about when Neo told them, what year they think it is, they don't know.
Yeah.
And in reality, it could be thousands of years later, if not more, because they tell him that this is the 7th generation.
Yeah.
And this is the 7th time they're doing this, where they attack Zion, and then they restart, and then they restart Zion because they, for some bizarre reason, have to redo this theatrical play every 1,000 years or something.
It did kind of like you got to see a glimpse of a much bigger picture. Like,
and I don't think
universe.
I don't. And the idea is great. They just didn't execute it.
Right. Well, it's like an idea that would warrant like a series of novels.
Yeah.
But they spent 10 minutes on it.
And it was like, and he's just in this white room talking to the KFC guy, and trying to get that recipe for him.
Right.
And I guess he gave him the six.
So bay leaves, am I right? Is it bay leaves? Bay leaves are in there clearly.
Yeah, salt, pepper, little cayenne, and 7 different generations of the Matrix.
The Matrix.
I like this one description when he talked about the Matrix, though, and he says like we did it first where. Was that in the... Okay, so now I'm screwing up because I just watched a movie. Was that... Did Agent Smith say that? Or was it the Colonel? When he said to him that the first generation of the Matrix failed because they almost made it like too... Like they made it like a utopia.
Yeah.
And like people's brains melted or something. Like
right.
they need to like be miserable or something. There needs to be a hierarchy. There needs to be like...
Right. That may have been in the first one. I'll admit that when I watched... The Matrix again last weekend in prep for this. I watched the whole thing kind of from start to finish, but I was on my phone here and there.
Like in our own personal Matrix.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like you really do. The Matrix can get really deep if you let it.
Yeah.
Did you ever read that? Maybe not read the book, but like where they talked about simulation and simulacra. That book by the French philosopher.
But I'll let you discuss it.
Well, I won't discuss it at length, but the basic premise was the book appeared in the movie.
Oh, really?
It was like they hid the disc.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the book was like the idea of like hyper reality and this, that, or whatever. And the famous example is like Disney World. Like if you go to Disney World and you go to Disney World, you recognize that it's like America. Like there's a main street, and there's a barbershop, and this, that, or whatever. And you're like, okay, this is...
mythology.
Right. And it almost feels more... American than America. You know what I mean? Like in a weird sort of way. And like the best example from my own life is like I used to go to Epcot and I'd go to Paris in Epcot. The people walking with like fucking baguettes and wearing berets and drinking wine.
Mimes? Any mimes there?
Yeah, mimes.
Were there any holes in the wall so you could see
Jerry Lewis films playing?
Did they have the holes in the wall so you could see the women dancing?
Oh,
the naked ladies?
I did not. Yeah, the Moulin Rouge district.
No, but that. There's a hole in the wall where the men could see it all. There's a place in France.
Oh, yeah,
where the naked ladies dance.
Yes.
There's a hole in the wall. The men could see it all. Was that not in Epcot Center? They don't have that? They don't feature that? That's the only thing I equate with France.
Well, but then I went to Paris. My wife and I went to Paris, and I'm looking around and it's like, this is not nearly Parisian enough. It was like...
Oh, when you went to France?
Yeah.
And you actually went to the real one?
Right, and it didn't seem...
There was no baguettes?
I'm like...
It was just people?
Yeah, just people living their lives.
Well, that's like New York. It's like you go there and...
Same thing, yeah.
You expect like certain things and it's just like, no, it's just people.
Right, like if you had never been to New York before, you'd expect like... There's the Empire State Building, like literally right next door is MoMA, and there's
it's Woody Allen.
Yeah, right, and like pizza restaurants, and like
Knish.
Right,
just a walking Knish.
Yeah, right. Banksy murals everywhere, but it's not like that. Like it's
that's London.
Yeah, well, but no, I saw a Banksy mural in New York.
Oh, I'm sure there's many of
Well, anyway, so that was the premise, like with the philosophical bent is that the Matrix is like. We live in this thing that we know is slightly unreal because we no longer live in the real world.
Right.
And your comment about the phone is kind of like that. Like, we're almost like...
Well, yeah, we're kind of in our... And the way, if you're on social media, the way they cater to you with their algorithms, and you only get to see what you technically want to see or what they want you to see or what you're accustomed to liking. Like, I have friends on Facebook that I have not seen their post in, like, a year or 2 years,
right.
And then I'll be like, I haven't seen this person. I'm going to go on the page, and I'll see them post things, and I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah, they've had this whole life that's been hidden from you.
Yeah, how am I supposed to stalk these people?
Yeah,
how am I supposed to stalk that person from high school? No, but I mean, it's bizarre because it's like I have like I don't know, I don't even care. I don't even know what I have. Like maybe like 200 people I follow on Facebook, right?
Right,
and. I swear I only see like 20 people, maybe 40 the most when there's like a birthday.
Right.
Or 50. And then I I know there's a lot of people probably don't go on it all the time, but it's bizarre, and it's like its own personal matrix, and the way these things operate, or the way like the news is fed to people with their own little bubbles. Everything's like catered to them.
Well, this is a good segue to the red pill. Do you want to talk about the red pill now?
All right. Well, I mean, I was gonna get to that later.
I'm gonna open a beer for this one.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, let's get into that in a little bit. But
okay.
So, all right. So I was watching The Matrix yesterday. We'll cast aside the sequels now. Let's focus on The Matrix itself. And okay, so you know, like when he first meets Morpheus, Morpheus explains to him, like, you know, this is not your reality or whatever.
And they're in that big chamber, and he takes him to the chamber.
Well, no, this is like before he takes the pill.
Oh,
and
okay,
then, like, the metal eats him up, and he's like, right. You know, there's like an awesome sound effect where he like, and he wakes up in the goo.
Right.
No, but like, okay, so when he's talking to Morpheus, he's in the room. Because I'm always like, okay, so the Matrix is like kind of like a proto 1999. It could be like 2000, whatever.
Yeah.
It's this generic city.
Right.
It's very green, if you notice that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of green in the movie.
Right, because of not because of, but like they mimic that with the code.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I think you see it more later in the movie, all the green. Green shading, green lighting. He doesn't bring up his parents, ever. Like, okay, so if somebody said to you, like, your whole life was a lie.
Right.
Like, a Joseph.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Morpheus.
I'd be like, but my mom...
This whole life, my mom, my dad, my brother, or, you know, I grew up with this person. No, that's all a lie. Like, he doesn't bring any of that up. Like, he doesn't bring... And I'm not to say that makes the movie bad, but I found that kind of interesting that Neo mentions nothing of, like, okay, so you got your life, you just... And it's kind of like almost like a Groundhog's Day thing too, where he's working every day, he's doing the same thing. He doesn't sleep really at night. He does coding and cyber whatever.
Right.
But he doesn't. When he meets Morpheus and they talk and they Morpheus is in the chair and he's like, he says the line he doesn't ever say, which is in that meme, "What if I told you?"
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't say it in the movie.
Right.
It's a meme that, like, and you ever seen the meme? You know what I'm talking about? There's a meme, like, "What if I told you?" And it's used by anything.
Right.
And like, what if I told you vaccines do? You know, something like ridiculous like that. And my favorite is, what if I told you I never said that in the movie?
Oh, yeah. Right.
Which was like, whoa, mind-blowing. But yeah, there's no mentioning of, like, and again, I'm not saying that makes the movie bad in writing. It's almost kind of interesting. It's like Neo doesn't bring that up. There's no, like...
Yeah, there's no... Like, when Bruce Willis in Unbreakable, like, began to suspect he was a superhero, he kind of, like, did some research, and he's like, when was I sick last? And, you know, all that kind of...
He has, like, he thinks about his... and then he has that flashback that he kind of blacked out, where he saved his wife.
Right.
Like, it was like a car crash, and he was fine. Yeah. And I guess she... got her. It was like he was able to do stuff that.
But he did some reality testing. Like, is this plausible? And there's other films.
And there's long. I mean, the movie spends more time than it's given. The Matrix want to get action going. They're not gonna sit there and he's gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, let me go through my home videos here." You know, let me go through this. But I just found it interesting. It's like there is no mentioning of like family, and I'm like, okay, in the Matrix, do people not have family? Do they not, like, are they...
You mean in the Matrix, meaning like the seemingly real world?
Yeah, the seemingly, like, you're not woken up, you're not woke, you're not, or red pilled or whatever, you're not, you're still in the Matrix, and you're just doing the everyday thing. Do you have memories? Do you grow up in the Matrix? Are you trying? I guess you do, because they show that you're a baby. Right. Like, they show babies, and then I guess when the body gets old and they dump it.
Right. That's your lifespan, I suppose, right?
Right, until they're done with the battery, or you do something in the Matrix that gets you killed or whatever.
I think they set it up, and I could be wrong here, but I think they set it up so that they did a good job in making the real world seem a little off. You're right, like the colors were a little weird, the sounds were very weird. Like it's then he's in the club and he's on the chat room.
Well, once they tell you, then it's like your eyes open more to it, and you see the glitches and you see that. But before that, you're like kind of just you accept it. Yeah, which is kind of like
you're like anesthetized. You know, like
pacified. Yeah, you're like you accept what you see and you don't question it. which I guess is kind of what the Matrix is saying.
Yeah.
But I just always, like I said, I found that interesting.
True.
If somebody told me my life was like fake,
I'd try to prove I'm wrong.
I would just say, like, well, where does it start, the fake life? Because I remember this. I can remember all the way back to when I was like 2 years old. I still have memories of that.
You can remember back when you were 2?
There's some memories I've held on to, and maybe I've like morphed them throughout the years. But I do have visions, and I see, not visions like, but like visions, like I can see things still. Like things that are still fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
They're obtainable in my brain. Like they haven't vanished. And like, there's some things I'm sure there's redundant things I forgot, but there's things where I feel like sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna get.
Do you feel they're accurate? I feel like sometimes I have no like true memories pre 12 years old.
No, I feel I mean they're accurate in that they were my experiences.
Yeah.
I can't look at it from a different point of view.
Yeah, I guess I just think like maybe.
But I do have strong memories. I might be able to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't tell you if that was like I was 9 or like 23. No, I'm just kidding. Well, the good thing is I've been reading comics since I was a kid, so I know I could keep the dates by the comics.
Oh, well, that's funny because like it's funny. I remember I was trying to figure out like a certain date not too long ago, and I bought the first issue of ROM. Remember the old
Space Knight. Yeah,
the Space Knight.
Yeah,
and I bought the first issue of ROM when ROM came out, and I remember this event happened around that time, and I was like, I'll just Google when ROM came out, and I was able to like.
Like, I had a birthday around that time.
Yeah, right.
So, thank you, Rom.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Rom.
I have memories. Yeah. Like I remember seeing Empire Strikes Back when I was a kid, going into the theater at 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
And missing the first couple of minutes. I remember that, and I had a little scab on my leg.
Right. Okay.
That my boot caused, and I was in pain. And I missed the scene with the Hoff monster. Like, cause my parents were notoriously late things all the time. But so, like, okay, so, and that's why I'm saying with like, the Matrix, it's like
he just buys it. Like, okay,
it's like he just kind of takes it and takes the pill, gets covered in late 90s CGI.
Yes,
wakes up in a puddle as a weird
goo.
Yeah, and he's bald, and kind of like really pale.
Yeah.
Like they say, like his muscles don't work, but he
looked fine.
Yeah, he should have been like just completely just like.
Yeah, if you were in goo forever, like
you probably wouldn't even be that tall.
Yeah,
you would be like shorter. You'd probably be like you'd be stunted.
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they like, I mean, they'd have no reason to like stimulate your muscles or anything.
Right.
Like, you'd be essentially jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be like those people in what was that, WALL-E? Remember that? They were all
I never saw WALL-E.
Yeah. The mind-blowing thing. Okay, so they advertised a movie with like the little robot.
Right.
It's like the first 40 minutes just him doing robot stuff. It's kind of an interesting movie to watch in that way. It's almost like a silent film, except for a couple things.
Yeah, I know.
And then they end up on a spaceship and they go to where the humans went, and the humans are all like 400-pound jelly people.
Oh,
they sit in chairs. Yeah, they got to the point where they're just like, it's fucked up actually.
Yeah, well,
they're living on like this. They're living on this space station, out because Earth was like uninhabitable, and they were supposed to come back. Wallies were supposed to clean, and he was like the last one. And he's just doing his job every day.
Sad.
He adds another brick. Yeah, it's a very disturbing movie for like a Pixar film.
Yeah,
you never saw it.
All the Pixar films are terribly disturbing.
No, this one is definitely the bleakest. But the ending is crazy. But like, yeah, the humans are like just they don't walk. They have no they just sit in chairs. They drink like big gulps all day. And they're like it's kind of like emerging. It's kind of emerging like Idiocracy.
Yeah.
But like taken much further. Well, they're just like catered to by the robots, and then like of course the lead robot's evil and like doesn't want to end this world because the whole thing is they send a robot to go to Earth and see can it be
re-inhabited
because they found a leaf was growing.
Oh, okay.
So that's like the first sign, and the leaf would go back to the station, and then they would tell them, okay, we could come back to Earth now
and destroy that leaf.
Yeah, and destroy that leaf. Well, the robot wants. Destroy. Yeah, I mean, I know we're.
Yeah, okay, but
it's like a little segue, but
yeah.
So so the Matrix. He takes the pill. He wakes up. He's jelly. They stimulate his muscles. Which I thought was. I'm glad they had that scene.
Right, the defib or whatever.
Where they're like adding electricity because he's never used them. And okay, so now the red pill thing.
Yeah. Well, real quick before we go into I always thought Keanu Reeves was a terrible actor. And I don't feel that way anymore. But
I mean, that was definitely a stigma that he had.
Yeah. I remember saying that, like, if you held his head underwater, he couldn't even act like he was drowning. You know, like, he'd be like, glove.
You can't say that now about him, though. He's like a...
But he's great now.
He's like a meme. We didn't talk about him I was thinking about him in the last episode. He fits under that icon thing.
Absolutely.
You ever seen, like, the sad Keanu?
Yeah. And he's supposed to be, like, a genuinely nice,
supposedly,
kind of humble guy.
he, like, he gives all his money away. And
rides a bus. And so, I mean, he
shows up on subways.
Sure, yeah.
He has a dog that he kills people over. That's John Wick.
Well, that's been okay. So we'll come back to that. But I normally hated his acting. I thought he was a little stiff and wooden in this one, but that was part of the character.
There's one line in the movie that is like just. I wish they cut it out, but it's almost like they had to keep it in. It's almost like the Winona Ryder laugh scene, or the Tom Hanks where he's like, or the Nicolas Cage, You know, it's the part when he goes, I know Kung Fu. Yeah, right. And I was like, oh my God. And I was watching it and I was like, why did you keep this line in the movie? Yeah. It's like such a Keanu sounding part. Like, it's like Joey from Blossom when he go, whoa. Yeah. And I was like, what? Why would you allow this line in the movie? And thankfully the movie's good enough to bypass that. Yes. When he goes, I know Kung Fu.
It seems like they're making a trailer clip. You know, like they're like,
I guess. To me, it was like I said, it was like such a very Keanu moment. But I feel like, that movie definitely breaks that, which is interesting because he doesn't really do much outside. I mean, he started out in a lot of arty films.
Yeah, he did My Own Private Idaho.
Yeah, Prince of New Jersey or something like that.
I don't remember that.
That's another early one.
He did River's Edge, which was great.
Dracula.
Was he? Oh yeah, he was terrible in Dracula.
He's terrible. That's not a good movie.
No,
I never liked Dracula.
There's a few cool scenes.
Yes.
I remember the scene when Dracula. Who was it? Christopher Walken?
I'm Dracula.
That'd be awesome.
No, it was Gary Oldman.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah.
So it was like, remember when Gary Oldman's Dracula was going one way, but his shadow was going the other way? That was like the only good part of the whole movie.
Those fun little things, but the movie was not very good.
Oh, it was trash.
Yeah.
Okay, so he had established himself as kind of an artsy guy, like My Own Private Idaho.
And he did do Bill and Ted.
And
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Right.
And supposedly they're actually working on the third one.
Yeah,
which I will not believe until I actually see a trailer, because they've been talking about this movie for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And every time they say they're going to make it, it never happens. And they keep having pictures of him and Alex Winter.
Well,
like, we're doing it. And every time they do it, they get older with that photo. They just get older and older.
Well, they're making, in related news, they're making a Clerks 3, I think.
No, it's a Jane Silent Bob reboot.
Oh, it's a reboot?
Well, it's a joke on a reboot. The joke is that Jane Silent... Well, Jane... I mean, I don't want to talk trash about Kevin Smith, but I used to love his stuff, and I have not been a big fan of his movies over the years.
Did you see that one where the walrus
was not very good? I don't know. That guy who played, like, the bad guy or whatever.
They're all bad guys.
Yeah, but the guy who is like the guy who makes the walrus, you could tell that he's like a guy who was an actor. Like, he's an actual actor.
I've blocked out so much.
Okay, but you can just tell that he's like somebody who's had like, and I think he died recently, but he was in another movie called Red State that Kevin Smith made.
I remember that. Yeah,
that wasn't very good either.
Well, I liked the premise. I thought that was like
he was the leader of the cult or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, he was the. This guy is like somebody you could tell who's like he can act.
Okay.
You give him a line, he'll act,
sure.
And he'll get his way through it, regardless of how garbage the movie is.
Yeah.
So the Jane Silent Bob, we don't want to we'll get back to Matrix, but the plot of that one, supposedly, it's a joke. It's not really a reboot. The joke is that the Blunt Man, a Chronic character, they had movies made about them, and they don't even know about it. It's like that's like the joke.
Oh, okay.
And they have to like fight to get the right. That's in the original one. So the reboot, sequel, whatever, is that. They're doing a reboot of Blunt Man and Chronic, so it's them trying to stop that from being made.
Okay, that could be fun. I heard, what I heard when I was researching Matrix over the last couple of days. I heard they're considering a Matrix reboot.
I mean, why the hell? I mean, if I was WB and you're looking at like, okay, the DC Universe thing did not do that great.
Right.
I mean, Aquaman's a success.
There's like a lot of shit they could do with Harry. They could just recast the roles, right? They could reboot
or they could just make Harry Potter now.
Yeah.
And I think I guarantee you at some point they're going to do Harry Potter in his 40s, and he's going to be living on an island, and there's going to be like a girl that's going to go up to him, and he's going to take his wand and throw it behind his head, and there's going to be a bunch of Russian troll bots that are going to like attack the movie. Also, the movie won't be very good either.
Yeah.
And then like. Oh, wait, I was talking about The Last Jedi. Never mind. We already made that movie. But let's just do that with Harry Potter. Where, he's a little old, he's miserable, he lives on an island.
Kind of schleppy.
And instead of those, they already got those little elves.
Barbecuing porgs.
But you know those elves, like, dobbies? Like, they could just be like those nuns on the island. Those weird little nuns.
Oh, those are so disturbing. This is all, like, real weird. So the red pill.
Yeah, okay, so, we go... Yeah. That's obviously the big part of the movie. It's like you take the blue pill and you go back to you go back to sleep, or you take the red pill and you go and see how far the rabbit hole goes. Or
right.
Like that.
You have a choice. You can take the blue pill, and that's the safe choice. And you
puts
can
you back to sleep.
Right. And you live in the
Matrix.
The Matrix.
And you forget this conversation never existed, and you just go back to doing Matrix stuff.
But you could take the red pill.
See how deep that rabbit hole goes.
Right. And it was it's a weird one because, like, I mean, I guess it would be different, like, because Neo's life didn't seem like super awesome.
Well, like I said, and also, was anybody's life awesome? Like, I love when, what's his name, Cypher?
Yes.
I'm glad they include that part. When he talks about, he's the one that like kind of screws them over.
Yeah, he's the traitor.
Right, but he brings up good points.
He does.
He's like, how is this life any better? I'm eating slurry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a life here. I'm following orders. Like, he wasn't like a higher up. He was just like a dude.
Yeah, he was like a red shirt.
Yeah, he was just like and it just shows you, even like in the Matrix, outside the Matrix, there's still a structure, and they enforce it even more in the sequels, where Zion. I remember even reading about, like, critics brought that up too, like how Zion. How is this why would we want to live there? There's like a imperial class of people that are wearing fucking jewels, and then there's like people starving.
Yeah,
and you're just like, how is this any different? Put me back in the fucking Matrix. Like, it's no different. At least, you know what? In the Matrix, I probably have like a chance of actually maybe working my way up somewhere.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that, because like the Matrix itself, like, didn't seem like a terrible deal.
Well, you don't know that until until you realize everything's fake, and then there's you learn about what was it when the glitch in Matrix was what did they call that? When you see the repeat, and it was such a mind fuck.
It was right. That was great.
What's that called? That's like a French word or something.
Deja vu. Yes, sorry.
Deja vu is a glitch in the Matrix.
Right. I thought that was...
They see a cat and they see it again. And it's like, well, deja vu. And they're like, oh, shit, no. And there's a Smith, an agent's going to show up.
Right.
The glitch in the Matrix means they're recalibrating, they're redoing things. And
they did a great job of that in the Animatrix. Did you see the Animatrix?
Okay, so Animatrix is good. I played the video game, too. I kind of want to stay on the movie.
Yeah.
The best part of the Animatrix was the possible origin story of the Matrix, where they show like people, robots. The animation was like really good. Mm-hmm. They had like a CGI one. It was okay.
I thought that was amazing once, and I quickly lost. But I thought it was really cool.
It was the same studio that made that Final Fantasy cartoon.
Yeah, Spirits Within.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
No, I wanted to like it so much. I didn't.
It was just boring. At the time, it was amazing looking, but it was.
Yeah. How was the video game? The Matrix video game.
Not very. I mean, it was the PS2. It was okay. It was repetitive, and then I was getting close to the end, and I was like in a tunnel, and the lighting was so shitty.
Right.
I couldn't see where the fuck I was going. I said, "Fuck it, I can't play this game." I kind of got to see all the clips though, because the whole point was they were like, "There's gonna be clips in the movie." Will Smith's wife in real life, Chad Smith. She plays like an important character. She's, I guess, she's like Morpheus's like ex-girlfriend or something. Yeah, and. She kisses. There's like a pivotal scene where they bring in that lady. So remember, like, there's the French guy.
Yeah,
and then he has like his
Persephone is his girlfriend.
Yeah,
or something.
and she's played by like this Italian actress.
Right. Yes.
Bogger.
I don't. Not. It's not Marina.
Very.
It's not the girl from Firefly.
I'm just gonna pull. No, she would have been younger.
Yeah, but I remember that. I remember that because I always liked the name Persephone. That was like on my short list. For
okay, so that was the one thing I hated about The Matrix Reloaded was the werewolves, vampires, the ghost guys with the dreads, and then and it was like they introduced all these like weird like the Key, and then there was like the French guy, and he was like something else.
Yes,
it was like, too convoluted. It reminded me. I mean, even though it came out years later, it reminded me of like Lost. Like, you watch Lost?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
so you remember like how like it's like they had to like drag things out,
right? And Jacob and the man.
Well, that at least played back into the original, but there was like other elements that they never revisited, like in season 4, where there was like the head of the island, and there was like a weird time travel thing. That's what it reminded me of. It was just like, okay, you're just killing time. Like, maybe we don't need this.
A lot of red herrings.
Yeah, we could just have this one movie. We didn't. Yeah, it was dumb.
Yeah, I remember particularly the werewolves and the vampires just being like.
But they weren't even really. They never saw them in action. It didn't make any sense. They were like, I know what they were. Again, I get the idea. It's kind of like with the Colonel.
Yes.
Poorly executed though.
But it was like they had a bunch of great ideas, and they were like, fuck it, we're gonna put them all in here. And
Monica Bellucci.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
So there's like a scene where she like kisses Jack.
Right.
It's only in a video game. So if you if you beat that level, you get
That's
that.
a compelling reason.
Yeah.
Break out the old PS2.
Yeah. It's not that great.
No,
it's kind of stupid.
But anyway, it's Neo takes the.
Okay, yeah. So
pill.
let's go back to the first one. Yeah.
Yes.
So he takes the pill. He wakes up. Okay, so. As movies, again, this movie's 20 years old. As movies, just like anything, we talk about Groundhog Day, or these things that survive time. There's videos, there's things, there's theories added, there's all these different things. But then there's ownership, and people start claiming ownership, and sometimes the terrible people, terrible people with terrible agendas.
Yeah, because horrible trolls have taken the red pill.
Well, okay, so one of the big ones is a woman named Candace Owens.
Yes.
She calls herself like a red pill black.
Yes.
Which,
that's
what she says. Right?
Sure.
She's a African American lady who's she's like on Trump's job.
Yes.
She's like pushes him, and she's.
Didn't she just recently get in a big Twitter fight with like Tammy Lauren or something?
No, you're thinking. Okay, Tammy Lauren got into a fight with a rapper named Cardi B.
Oh,
Cardi B.
Oh yeah, and
she
Cardi
said,
B
"I'm going to dog walk
you."
Yeah, it's very different people. It's basically the same person, but not.
But not
Candace Owens and Tamara Lauren are basically the same person.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's been pushing that, and the whole idea is like the red pill, like the right wing or like online internet trolls. They use the red pill, and they use this other thing to attack people, which again is like. It's like debasing people. They do it on it's almost like I said, Matrix on the social media, where they make these fake accounts. They call them NPCs. And
like a non-player character.
Yeah, and they're like gray. They got like 2 dots, like a nose and a mouth, and they're like generic liberals. And they'll go on they'll make fake accounts and be like 06132, and they'll go on a page and they'll say like Orange Man bad or something, or they'll say some generic like. Social, what they would call social justice warrior comments, like generic lines, and it's. I mean, I know what they're doing. I think they're being funny, but at the same time, they're dehumanizing people.
Yeah,
and it's all part of that red pill thing. So the whole idea is that you're taking the red pill, right? See, you're eating. The red pill is the real thing. That's why you don't get Trump, or you don't get these.
Yeah, because we're still in the Matrix.
Yeah, we're still on the blue pill. But once you take this red pill, you'll open up. And the whole thing is moronic because what it does is it plays into people who really don't follow politics, who don't understand how government works or whatever. Not to say that I do either, but at least I do follow it. And I know when I see agendas and and they're. I think an everyday person sees the Me Too movement or pop culture, or they say Time's Up movement, they call that, and they see it as they're being restricted, they're being contained.
Well, they see it as threatening to the way they want to live their lives.
But they also think that that's the power structure. And they don't realize that this is where it gets really devious, is that the red pill people, as they would like to claim themselves, they're actually pushing an agenda that's ran by people who have ran the government. Republicans have had Congress for 10 years. They've had Senate for 6 to 8 years, and the president, and they also have the courts. So, but if you talk to the average person, their perception is they think in pop culture. Pop culture, the culture is to the left. Not really, but it is in their mind. But the actual power structure that actually runs things it's way to the right. It's deep. It's a crimson red. So they're telling people to use this red pill to open their mind or like be anti-PC. That's another gateway drug.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
And that's one's made by a neo. That's actually the main people that push that. And I always tell people this. And I'm like, when you say things about anti-PC, I'm like, what are you getting at? Because I'm just letting you know that the main people with the origins, like that's some like neo-Nazi Klan shit.
Yeah, that is weird. But it's funny because like clearly far right trolls, that type of they've adopted the red pill kind of as their thing. But the Matrix, I never thought the Matrix had that philosophy. I never thought the Matrix,
it didn't.
Yeah,
and it's ruining it. It ruins it. You watch it later, and I'm like, now that this has only been the past couple of years.
Well, there's another element that got ruined, and you brought it up that I had completely forgotten
the Columbine
about.
thing.
Yeah, the Columbine.
Okay, so I saw the movie in the theater, but I didn't see it till the movie came out in April. Columbine happened, I think, in May.
Wow, I didn't realize. Or
the end of April. The movie came out in like early April. Columbine happened.
I want to say April 20th. I think it was 4/20 was the thing.
You did on Hitler's birthday.
Right.
It was 4/20.
Yeah.
The movie came out early April, so it was already out for a while. And they said the way the kids dressed and
the guns and this, that, and whatever.
And so, I mean, at the time, I was like, thought it was idiotic. I still think it's idiotic. I'm like, no, about the guns are the problem.
Yeah, right. Well, I worked.
But I remember seeing it. I didn't see the movie until like a month after Columbine came out.
Okay.
I went on a date with somebody, and she's like, "Yeah, you gotta see this movie."
Sure.
She didn't ruin it for me, and I was like, "Whoa!" But I remember like the kid, like Mouse. Dude, there's like a younger guy. He gets killed early.
Yeah.
He's the one who makes like the red lady.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, did you see the lady in red?"
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that lady. That red lady. You can go in the Matrix.
Oh,
yeah. That's right. We put this on explicit.
Yeah, right. Okay.
For a reason. So you can go to the Matrix and make it with that red lady.
Well, that's another compelling argument in favor of the Matrix. I mean, like the Matrix had like a lot of stuff going for it. I mean,
well, but that was a program he was running. He was almost like that was their. Remember, they had their own.
Yeah,
they had their like fake Matrix that they were practicing.
Yes.
So that was like VR.
Right.
So the Matrix. That's not really true. You would still have to like have a good personality, maybe good looking.
Right.
Maybe you have money.
I'm sure there's still have to for that.
Like in the actual Matrix. So this is like a VR thing.
Well, okay. So if the Matrix were, let's say the Matrix were real, I'll bet you there'd be people lining up to pay to get in it.
Now I feel like they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would. I think they would. They would think it was another opportunity. Or remember The Sims? Or what was the other thing called? Half-Life.
Second Life.
What was it called? I thought it was Half-Life.
No, Half-Life was the great game from Valve with the crowbar, Gordon Freeman. Half-Life was a game, but that was a first-person shooter.
Okay.
Second Life was the one where people spent years building houses and shops and like some.
Wow, you think if they just put all that effort into.
Right.
And that's one thing about games that like I like games, and this is like not a knock on people.
Yeah.
Okay. I played like when I was a kid. I played Phantasy Star all the way through.
Okay. Yeah.
Which was like on Sega Master System, and it was like the best game out at the time. It was a role playing game. I played like God of War.
Oh yeah,
1 and 3. I don't think I finished 2 all the way through. But I don't play these other games. I usually like the Street Fighter. Or like those games where you could just go in,
you like
play for like 10 minutes,
hit it,
get the
quit.
hell out. Yeah, hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that red lady in the Matrix. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. See, I'm the opposite. I like
That's
the games where you like
shouldn't joke like that.
Where you spend like 100 or 200 hours.
Yeah, I can't. I played Grand Theft Auto. I almost finished the third one. The third one is like really the first one.
Yes, right.
Because that's when it becomes like more open
like
world.
a 3-dimensional. Yeah. I played the first couple. They were like top down.
Yeah, I never played those. I didn't have a PlayStation 1. I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
But I had a PS2. I didn't have PS1. And I got Vice City. Mm-hmm. I couldn't beat this one thing. I gave up on it. I just remember Ray Liotta was a voice. That was a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
I got the other one, San Andreas. And when they started
That's
introducing... Good. Yeah, but once they said you had to start eating, I was out.
Oh, I remember that.
I was like, this is bullshit.
Right.
I don't want to fucking eat.
I want to play The Sims.
I'm going to go eat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go...
Right.
I'm going to go eat. I don't want to do this. Like, this game doesn't look real enough for me to
Matrix eating.
Yeah, this bullshit. Like, no. I'm riding a bike. I go get food. And, and then I'm going to get killed 2 seconds later and have to redo the whole thing again. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And I'd rather just, like, draw and do stuff like that. So I can't.
People do... People disappear into games. Second Life is a big one.
You ever see how, like, people, and I think this was, like, in China, where people just die playing games?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what was it, like, World of Warcraft or one of those games?
World of Warcraft was a big one.
But, like, yeah, someone, like, there was a couple of cases where people just played and then died. They were, like, they never got up. They drained themselves of all their nutrients, and they died playing a game. That is insane. Hey, you still playing? No, I'm dead now. No, I'm really dead.
It's crazy. Did you see that movie Pulse? I think it was Pulse. It was a Japanese. Remember when Japanese horror was real popular in the U.S.? It was like The Ring and The Grudge. Yeah. And there's like 3 or 4.
I thought you were say The Grub.
The Grudge.
The Grub.
No, that was San Andreas. The Eye. There's like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
The Pulse was one of them, and it was basically that phenomenon where people would just sort of vanish into their rooms and die. But Kristen Bell was in it. It was a good one. But anyway, so. I think people would buy into the Matrix. I think the Matrix.
No, I think they would. They would totally. They would just see it as another.
Elon Musk would be.
Yeah. It's something. It would just be like some Second Life thing. You know. I mean, I listen. You know, if colleges aren't affordable and you know you can't make it, and like you live in like a. What was that movie? Ready Player One.
Yeah, Ready Player One.
Yeah, that was okay.
I never saw the movie. I read the book.
I read some of the book. I didn't finish the book. I saw the movie. Movie was okay.
The book hit every single one of my... It was like written for me.
Well,
it was like every single piece of nostalgia I had.
Right, and the problem is the movie was limited to what the studio was able to get the rights to.
Yeah.
So like they were able to like sneak a Star Wars thing in. Like there's like one little blip, but they couldn't have it because it was a WB property. They could not like get like the majority of the stuff that's in the book.
The guy Ernest Klein wrote the book, and I loved. I couldn't believe it, and I was teaching at the time, and I shared the book with a few kids. They loved it.
I love the idea of the stacks. The
trailers stacked
on top. That sounds like something real.
It really does. But then he wrote a follow up to that called Armada, and it was basically The Last Starfighter, and it was terrible. It was like
sometimes those follow ups aren't good.
It was bad. Oh, I don't know. I have a theory like. With music, like the first album is always so good, but you've had your entire life to lead up to that.
Right, and then you're like, okay, now I gotta go do this next one.
Now I've got like 8 months to come up with.
Unless you're just always creating stuff, and then you get discovered, and you know, if you're just always making things. But yeah, if it's like, what was it like? A good example, Flight of the Conchords was like a great.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So do you remember that show?
Yeah.
So like. They were around for a while, and then like the majority of their songs, their top songs, were in season 1, and then they did season 2, and they like had it was like kind of like called their B-sides, from their live performances or whatever, and then just some stupid rap songs that they made for the episodes, and it ended up being such a hard endeavor for them to do. I don't know if the show got canceled or they just didn't want to do it anymore. I think it ended up being a lot.
Back, but yeah,
they did a special.
Tenacious D was like that too. With Jack Black and...
Well, they're always playing.
Yeah, but they had a lot of output, and then... I mean, they don't do new stuff.
I mean, I think it's just projects, you know? Yeah. I mean, he's doing Jack Black stuff. He's doing...
I'm waiting for the...
thing that he does.
When he's replaced by, like, Josh Gad.
Josh Gad, yeah. Which one?
Jack Black.
Jack Black gets played.
Right.
No, he'd be replaced by the ghost of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Because, remember, Philip Seymour Hoffman played a Jack Black character.
Right.
There is a guy who is, like, a Jack Black person. I gotta get his name. He was, like, on some show years ago. It was about, like, a kid who, like, realizes, like, he has to, like, hunt demons or something. And like Ray Weiss plays the devil, and his goofball friend, is this actor who's basically doing a Jack Black impression the whole time.
It was called Demon or something.
Yeah, sure, Demon.
No, it was on TV. It was Reaper.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it Reaper?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So now I'm going to go and get my tricorder.
I'm betting... You're right, that was a Jack Black character.
Right.
That wasn't Josh Gad?
No, Josh Gad, no. This guy, Josh Gad's been much bigger as a star than this guy. Not to say that this guy is terrible or anything.
Right.
And he's definitely, I feel like, his name is Tyler Labine. And he shows up in things.
Okay.
You would know that. And he's kind of, thankfully for himself, grown out of the Jack Black type character.
Okay.
Like, he doesn't have to play that anymore. But for years, it was like, oh, he's
right, Jack Black's unavailable. Get this guy.
Poor man.
Yeah.
You get Schnack Flack. Schnack Flack. Jack Black's not getting ready. You get me Black Jack. Yeah.
Okay, so Neo takes the red pill and he's woke.
Yeah, he's woke, but not like in a
not
in a social justice warrior way, but in that fucking right wing, like Trump loving.
Well, he goes in the film.
MAGA,
that would be the reboot. How funny would that be?
Matrix.
It would be like he takes the red pill, and all of a sudden he's like,
he puts on a red hat, and
then Atlas shrugs.
Yeah. Do you know what I was like? Okay, do you know what I love about Atlas Shrugged? You know what they made?
Nothing.
Nothing. But no, this is funny. Okay, so Atlas Shrugged. I mean, my wife's read some of these books.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She didn't get sucked into become like this libertarian or like that. It became like a dogma.
Yes.
But okay, so these movies that were produced were almost kind of like those Kirk Cameron last.
Yeah, they were laughably bad.
The Left Behind movies, not as good. Definitely pushing an agenda. Like, they premiered the trailer for Atlas Shrugged Part 1 at CPAC. You know what CPAC is? The conservative...
conservative political action.
Yeah. I always look forward to that every year.
Yeah.
Because I always love seeing the people that go there and interview them. And my favorite was one guy at one of the CPACs. He said that the movie 300 was a documentary. The movie 300?
The Zack Snyder
monsters and he said that was a he said that was a documentary, and I said
probably not.
And then another guy they interviewed, and they said that he said homosexuality was a choice, and I thought that was really funny because I was like, maybe that guy it is. But most people it isn't.
Most people are just kind of
so they premiered the Atlas Shrugged trailer at CPAC. But so the first movie came out critically
but it was like not bad.
Right, not because they don't like the agenda or whatever, but because it's just not a good movie.
Wooden dialogue.
It's just not a good movie. It's poorly paced, and they instead of making one movie, they tried turning one book into 3 movies. So
they made it 3.
Yeah, they did. But the funny thing is, they had to get a because the movie...
A Kickstarter,
that was the irony, and people brought that up, because the whole thing about letting the market decide the libertarian philosophy. Let the market decide. And it's like, we need your help to help this third movie come out. We're like, you know what? I think the market decided they don't want to see this movie.
The invisible hand is giving you the finger.
The invisible hand has said let the invisible hand tell you. Yeah. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. I've seen it all on there, and
is it as bad? Because I've not watched any of it.
No, I've seen some clips. I've seen the trailer for the first one.
Atlas Shrugged is where all the wealthy people go to an island.
John Galt. It's not an island. They have to go like a special tunnel to get there. This
that actually has kind of a Matrixy bent because,
and the guy from Garfield, the bad guy from Garfield, and the guy who plays the insurance guy from Groundhog's Day.
Oh, okay,
same person.
Yeah. Right.
Bill Murray connection. Bill Murray's not Atlas Shrugged.
No,
maybe he's in there. You just don't see him. He probably wandered in. Was like, wait, what? What am I doing here?
Is this the Coen brothers?
Yeah. I saw that. I think that's real. That's too fucking funny.
Look, if it is, then his legend only grows.
That adds even more. Then he literally has no agent. He literally is just running on a...
And just to be clear, you texted me this thing that said basically that when Bill Murray was approached to do Garfield, he assumed the Coen directing it was
It was like
famous.
Joel Cohen or something.
Right.
He found out Joel Cohen was the writer of Garfield.
Yes.
Not knowing that there was another Joel Cohen.
Yeah, he thought it was the
there.
Coen brothers, critically acclaimed. And I don't know where, like, I don't know if that's true because, like,
that just makes it so
on
funny.
what-
I mean, would you just show up at the set and be like, "Where's Joel?"
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Hi," and they'd be like, "You're not Joel." No, I am Joel. I'm Joel.
I wouldn't even know what
grew
they
up-
looked like. Do you think he knew what they looked like?
No, probably
Like,
not. He probably just thinks it's a guy with glasses, and
Right.
the other guy with Joel had
I
glasses
just think
too.
like these erudite, kind of like nebbish.
Just like, I'm Joel. How you doing?
I think John Turturro. Like that's who I
You
would
just think John Turturro, even though I don't even know what the Coen brothers look like.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like in my head,
So the guy, they could all look like Garfield for all
I would
know.
think it's the cast of Barton Fink would be.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
who the Coen brothers
So
are.
he expected to see that, and the guy probably looked like that.
Right.
Like, hi, I'm Joe Cohen. He's like, you surely are. I'm Bill Murray. Let me
Right.
get in that voice booth and do this voice of this. What is
Right.
this movie I'm in?
Garfield.
Is this a
Who's
sequel to
clearly
Barton
a-
Fink?
It's like it's like about the president, Garfield.
But how do you trick him into doing the sequel? All right, that explains
that's
the
what-
first
right,
one.
that
Do you-
explains the first
do
one.
you just be like, listen, while I got you, can you just do the voices for this other script I'm going to hand you?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pay you. Sure, why not?
Bill Murray's like, yeah, I got what do we got Tuesday? Nothing. Like,
Yeah. I got to go show up at a random bar.
Right,
I got to
right,
go do
Cubs are done playing for the year.
I thought that was so funny. Okay, so back to
but-
Shrugged and the guy who started it. Yeah, those movies were terrible.
Right. Okay. So anyway, good to Neo. A lot of cool stuff. Like the terrible things, the red pill, and it's a co-opting by the right wing.
I mean, that's just typical. That happens all
yeah.
the time. They try to take over something, and it's like that with any fandom. I've been seeing that with like people like trying to take like Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah.
They try to take like what Rick says, but it's all twisted in favor of like Trump philosophy, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I don't think Rick. Well, one, he's not real. He's a
Right.
cartoon.
He is
but
a
if he
cartoon.
was real, he probably would not like Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I don't have a.
Do you find that in your own artwork? Like, I know some of your artwork is pretty political, but do you have people saying like, no, I see it a different way? Do you have people like arguing with you about the icons of?
Oh, I mean, everybody's got their personal view. That's
Yeah.
why I said with the Star Wars memes, like the episode, the prequel memes and everything.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, I think some of that is just being generated to like attack the Disney, what they consider but you're just attacking one bad thing with another thing.
Well, the red pill co-option, which was terrible, and the Columbine thing, which I don't want to talk about.
Well, okay, the Columbine
Clearly
thing was
awful.
just, when Columbine happened, obviously, what's fucked up is there's been like thousands of Columbines since then.
Yeah.
It's just Columbines remembered.
A couple every month, right?
Yes, yeah, and they've been more deaths.
Yep.
But got the most publicity at the time because it didn't really happen.
Well,
it was very rare, and then
it was a big deal.
So the one thing I didn't. There's a couple things I didn't like about it. Well, besides the fact. There's a couple things I didn't like about Columbine. Let me tell you. One of them was all those kids who were killed. Not a fan.
Right.
No, but the reaction people have, of course. Everybody gets like. It's really bizarre how people react. It's like you get people who get killed.
Yeah.
And then you have people who like they gotta protect their toys. And it's really bizarre. They get very strange. If you mention like and it's like the power of marketing is the way I see it, because the one thing that the NRA or whatever has done is they have basically convinced people a product. They could have done that with VCRs. They could have done that with a plunger.
Oh, sure,
it's a product. It's not anything else. It's a toy. It's a gun. A gun is, not. I'm not saying like it's a coffee pot. I mean,
no.
It's just it makes billions of dollars a year, and but people treat it like a religion. And what I find insane is that when kids die, you think they would be adults, and they would say, "Yeah, you're right. I think we should have some."
Some restrictions or
a couple of restrictions, like let's make sure lunatics don't have access. Let's make sure, let's make it harder for kids. Maybe they shouldn't sell bullets at Kmart. Things like that. Regardless, and that's what that opened up. But they attacked. Instead, what they did, their reflex was to go after the Matrix.
Yep, and
Marilyn Manson.
Oh, I forgot about Marilyn Manson.
That Doozers band, that like German Doozers.
Oh, yeah. They were terrible.
Ramen noodles. What they called?
No, Rammstein.
Rammstein. Yeah.
Yeah, ramen noodles.
Doozers.
Yeah, gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was like a big hit at the time too.
Right, I call him Ramstein.
Yeah, Ramstein. Yeah, so what's funny is, I mean, the Matrix look, though, and the way those kids dress, I knew people in high school dressed like that.
Yeah.
Growing up in the 90s. I could name, like, 5 different people who dressed like the Columbine kids years before the Columbine thing happened.
Yeah, I mean, not that I had anything in common with the Columbine kids, but I remember in high school, I was in high school in, like, the late 1980s.
Okay.
And I wore trench coats and, all that kind of stuff. I didn't have a fascination with guns or...
Did you ever see that movie, The Basketball Diaries?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that scene? And it came out like a year or two before Columbine.
It did.
Leonardo DiCaprio comes into the school and shoots it up.
Yeah. Well, that was based on... That was Jim Carroll's autobiography, The Basketball Diaries.
Yeah.
And that had the great song by Jim Carroll, People Who Died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got a lot of flack for that because he went into like his Catholic school and shut up a bunch of people. Right?
Well, yeah, he's wearing like a long trench coat. He comes in and shoots everybody up. Now, again, these kids were evil.
And
again, it's like tacking pop culture,
right?
Using that as an excuse. It was like an easy reflex at the time instead of just going after the real problem. Going after the problem like much deeper root. I'm not going to get into like a Bone for Columbine type thing here, but to go blame a movie is ridiculous.
It is
not blame that. And the one thing I always get annoyed, and I remember reading up about this years later. They always say like these kids were like nerds or whatever, or they didn't like have friends, and that's not true at all.
No, it's not.
No, they were like, I mean, they weren't jocks, but they were not. And I knew kids like this in school too. It's like they were like the head of like whatever little clique they were friends with.
Yeah, right.
They had a lot of friends. They were not like... They were just twisted as fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because and we've kind of gotten a little afield of the Matrix.
Well, it's part of the...
It is.
The culture of the time period.
I read a great book recently.
We tricked you. I know, we're talking about the Matrix. We're talking about Columbine. All right, stick around.
I read this great book called Far From the Tree. And it was not Malcolm Gladwell, but it was a guy who interviewed... parents of exceptional kids, and he used exceptional in the strictest sense of the word, meaning one kid was like a concert pianist, one kid was deaf, one kid had Down syndrome, one kid had like an IQ of 180, just kids that were exceptional in some way.
Okay.
And one of them was one of the Columbine kids' parents. And
the parents were, not the kid.
No, he interviewed the parents because
okay.
the kids obviously perished.
Yeah. They killed themselves, right?
I think so, yeah. And he talked to them at length. It was a really heartbreaking interview because I could be wrong here, but I remember one of the kids was pretty fucked up and mean-spirited, and the other kid was a follower. And
that's kind of how things are.
Exactly. And I think he interviewed the followers' parents, and they were like, we feel terrible. I mean, I'm grossly simplifying it, but they were like, we feel terrible and this, that, and whatever. And they were talking about how like their kid, they thought he was normal, but he clearly wasn't. And it was just like a really bizarre interview. And they never blamed like pop culture in the way that a lot of people did. And
it was a cheesy reflex at the time.
Yeah, they blamed it more on like the kid's head. They just said like he had a problem or whatever. And I guess that's kind of
just evil. And if they have access to weapons, I knew some twisted kids growing up.
Oh yeah.
I knew some real twisted kids, and I knew to get the fuck away from them.
Right. Well,
And I mean, there were some kids growing up that, like, and I thought about the time because. It was 99. I was graduating college, but I was still fresh off of I was still young, and I was still. High school was only a couple of years before that. Growing up, I knew people who were like this, and I was like, and I totally was like, not. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, that guy would be that guy. And I remember and one thing I didn't like, which is such a typical thing that Hollywood or mainstream does, is they just try to make them like they were like nerds or they were like geeks. And the reality is, no, they weren't. They weren't like your typical bullied kids. They were like,
they
were just part of like a subculture or whatever. But they were fucking evil.
Right, yeah. It's weird. It's an odd one.
I mean, sure, yeah, they probably weren't invited to sit at the jock table.
No, but you're right, because like I remember being like, I was kind of that clique when I was in high school, but I wasn't unpopular, you know. I mean, like I had like plenty of friends. It was like a pretty decent experience. I wasn't a jock or, you know, like a homecoming king or anything like that. But like I got along with those kids.
Beginning of a song.
I know, right? But I got along with those kids. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, there's these cinematic cliques that were like scrapping after school and stuff. You know, maybe other people had terrible experiences, and mine was like...
Mine was okay. It got better as it went along. Like, my senior year was probably the best year in high school.
Yeah, by the time I hit senior year, I was like super happy. I enjoyed high school. I mean, I didn't love it, but
But like I said, it was so fresh at the time, and I just remember seeing The Matrix like right after, and hearing constantly over and over like about how these kids look like they came out of The Matrix.
Yeah.
And seeing the movie, and I was like, you know, it's still like, you know, just like anything, when people like, if you repeat something over and over, it's going to affect you.
Right.
Even if you don't say, I don't believe it. But if like you keep saying it and you finally see it, the first reaction you see is like, holy shit.
Right.
And like when you see the kid, one of the young kid, he looks like a Columbine kid, and it's just like, you're just like, ugh.
What is that expression, like when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail? You know, I think that's
pretty
kind
much,
of, you know, like if you go in there with that kind of assumption, like, I don't like The Matrix, and there's something like, you know, subversive about it.
I said the same thing about like, not to defend, you know, it's like in the 2016 election, some people just had this hatred of Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And like, I'm not going to defend her. There's things I didn't like about her, but I still voted for her. I don't care. But like, but I would ask people, why don't you like her? And they would say things, and I'm like, well, do you think maybe that's not 30 years of negative media attacks?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been like, there's a $1 billion industry of attacking this woman.
Yeah.
Regardless of if she was good or bad, it doesn't even matter. There's a machine here. There's a whole network.
Oh,
and she was also the wife of a president. Like, there's so much baggage. Yeah, sure. There's so much baggage attached. So, of course, you know, some people be like, yeah, I don't like her. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that's
because you're conditioned. You don't.
That is super Matrixy. I mean, like, I'm not intentionally trying to bring it back to the Matrix, but that is. It's like you're if
you're creating a reality.
Yeah,
what memes do too.
Yeah,
and that's why when I said we were talking about memes, and I knew about memes way before it was like I said, Domo sees you. Yeah, kills a cat because you were masturbating. It was more like political memes, like you said, with Chomsky and like viral thought. But that's exactly what it is. It's repetitious. It's like, you know, one example was in 2003 when the Iraq War started. Well, 9/11 happened. Everyone was, oh my God, this beer sounds good. I'm not peeing. I'm pouring a beer. The Iraq War was like brewing the whole time, like right after 9/11. Everyone said it was Osama bin Laden, and then they spent the whole year 2002. Right. There were people, they did studies, and they said a majority of Americans were convinced Saddam Hussein did 9/11.
Oh yeah, people still believe that.
Oh yeah, there's still people who believe that, which is totally insane.
Yeah.
But it's just like anything else. So it's just, if you just keep repeating something over and over.
Yeah, I think we're all susceptible to that. To that. To some extent.
And even there's people like intellectuals or people who think they're like so high-minded. They're just as they're going to get affected by it too. They'll just create a rationale behind it.
Yeah, it's funny. Like this conversation, and I mean this like in a good way. Like, it went like pretty far afield, but like I think that that's like the Matrix. Like it is a really it's a thinky movie. You know, I mean, like you can't help but to kind of consider like.
I mean, there's some dumb things in it.
There's some dumb things. But look, what a great premise! Like everything you know is a lie. You know, it's been like spoon fed to you. The reality is really something quite different. Do you want to see it? You know, are you at least curious about seeing this different reality? Yeah. And what a great hook for a movie, you know? And I think it feels real because I think it is real. We all kind of know
I love Israel.
What? Oh, we all...
Israel.
It's funny. It does. It feels like we've all had, like, since probably like post World War II, when like, you know, we've had this uneasiness or this existential dread, you know, like...
Well, it's brought about by, you could say, the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, well, 100%,
Gotta keep producing things.
Well,
you know, gotta keep that machine going so you keep getting that money generated, and by doing that, sometimes you need some fear.
Well, that's kind of like the premise of Akira, which we talked about.
There's definitely, when watching The Matrix, there was, I thought of Akira the whole time.
Yeah, well, I read today that one of the brothers who directed it specifically said he wanted to make parts of it look like Akira,
and he succeeded.
Yeah, I mean, in a great way.
It's not the same in any way, really.
It's like an homage,
but
or something.
No, what I'm saying is the main structure of the story. It's not the same, but the whole having powers and like just the way, some of the look of it, the lighting.
Yeah, well, he said the bullet time he stole from Akira. Not stole, but like that's one of the things.
Okay, so talking now, we got a little dark, right? I mean,
right.
But, you know, so Akira, back to The Matrix.
Speaking of lighthearted things, like Akira, where the world ends.
No, but The Matrix, like, let's talk about, like, now more on, like, how it affected all movies for, 10 years. Oh, my God. It ruined so many...
bullet time was a game changer.
Remember the kick? The Trinity kick?
Yep.
And it was used in, like, so many... It was, like, Underworld, like, took it over. Remember that McCartney movie?
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. And everyone had to wear black leather.
Yep.
Like, they made an X-Men movie that came out a year
right
after. And I don't know. I'm, like, always wondering, I'm like, okay, what came first? Were they already planning to do the black leather? Or did they see The Matrix and it was successful enough? And because the movie came out, like, over a year after. It came out over a year after. That is possible that they were like, let's make it look like The Matrix.
Right, like they had originally shot it in like yellow jumpsuits.
Yeah, that'd be sick. And they're just like, this looks stupid. They're like, make it look like The Matrix. And they're all wearing like black leather outfits that have no personality except for like some major like, the Cyclops thing.
Right, Cyclops and
I
don't know.
It really affected movies for a very long time. People mimic the crap out of The Matrix.
Right.
But you could say the same thing in like Star Wars. There was all those imitators that came out.
Yeah, or Blade Runner had like a series of films that were like Blade Runner looking.
I mean that's a post-op. Yeah, like the style. Even though the movie wasn't a financial success.
No, like dark, rain,
it was probably
neon.
Inspiring to a lot of people. They're like, make it look like that movie.
Well, it probably like, look, I know Blade Runner was kind of a box office bomb, but a lot of those movies, I'll bet you, inspired people that made movies.
Yeah, that's what it did.
Right? Yeah, like...
You ever see that documentary about Dune? The guy...
Jodorowsky.
Yeah, did you ever see that?
I did. That was on...
It's about like him trying to make Dune.
Right, and he couldn't make it.
Well, he came up with all these insane things, and
he was like
but the funny thing is, he didn't even read Dune. That's the best part when they realized, like, I didn't even read it. I don't even care. But they made, like, he got all these artists. He got the guy from the famous Aliens.
Geiger.
Geiger. He got the French artist. He died a couple years ago. The French artist, Mobius.
Oh, yeah.
And he got all these other people, and they created, like, a Bible.
Right, like, a show Bible, yeah.
And he said that, like, and it went around Hollywood, and he wanted Salvador Dali to do it.
That's right, yes.
That's the best part. Yeah. Salvador Dali
was going to be an actor.
Yeah, but he wanted to be the most highly paid actor ever. That was his thing. He said. So he's like told him like he'll be in the movie for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But he'll pay him like the highest paid actor. It was like something. It was kind of funny the logic. Like, you would pay him like $200,000 or something to get him to be in the movie.
Right.
But he's only paying him for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like a character that I don't think is even in Dune. It was like the king of the universe or something. I mean, he literally was not married to that movie.
Well, and that title was the password to get into the secret room in Russian Doll. Remember?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like remember in like episode 2 or 3 when Natasha Lyonne goes to her drug dealer's bar, the Arabic guy or whatever, or Indian guy, and he's like, I got a secret room in the back, and she's like, and she's not interested at all. He's like, the password is Jodorowsky's Dune or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't even. So the thing that he brings up though is how he saw it get shown. He's like, I had things storyboarded out, ideas, like all these crazy ideas and everything. Mm-hmm. And he said, I saw it show up in this movie and in this movie, and like elements were stolen that were put in Star Wars.
Huh.
Which is kind of funny because I
Yeah.
think they always said like Dune, kind of almost like as like a priest, because it came out before the book came out years before Star Wars did, right?
Yes.
And there's definitely inspiration, even like the storyline and everything the way it plays into it, kind of goes into Star Wars a bit,
Right.
But yeah, like supposedly there are like elements that straight up lifted from
I could see
this
it.
Dune Bible that went around, and I mean, I gotta see the documentary again, but it was he brings up all these different things that like were literally like the studio was like, yeah, we're not gonna make the movie, but thanks for this style guide.
Well,
and we're gonna just take little pieces and put it in a movie.
Because Tatooine is basically Dune, the planet.
Well, I mean, I just see it as more of just like it's a starting ground.
Yeah.
It's an abandoned wasteland.
But it's a desert
like,
planet.
Yeah.
A lot of the aesthetics are kind of there. And
yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that about Dune, but I could also see it as it just seems like it's a good setting. It's like a hometown, or it's like, middle of nowhere, Kansas or something. It's like Superman. He's in Kansas, and it's like Smallville, right? It's literally called. I love that. It's called Smallville, and he moves to Metropolis,
right?
And it's like the most ridiculous. Like I'm from Tiny Town, and I'm going to move to Bigville.
Bigville.
The Bigville is where all the stuff happens. Right. But I grew up in Tiny Town.
I'm going to work for a paper. See?
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. Well, okay. So like. Dune. That was a great one. What was that? I saw that recently. That was on Amazon Prime.
You talking about the original?
No, the documentary.
Oh, I gotta rewatch it. I loved his reaction though when he saw it in the theater, the David Lynch one. Oh, and he was like, "Hey, what shit?"
Yeah,
he was so happy. He was like, he felt vindicated. Right. But I just love though that it's like he wasn't even making Dune. He was just making some insane.
He was crazy.
Well, he didn't even read it. He was like, it doesn't even matter.
Guy who did the same Sean Connery movie with we talked about this before, where the big idol drops
What's this
guns.
mean? He's done like a couple of movies. I don't know if I've ever seen any of his movies. I'm gonna have to look.
He's just I so admired the fact that he's like completely bonkers and it's just doing his thing.
He's like French, right?
I don't even know. Sure. I mean, he's probably, but he's just like, fuck it. I'm gonna do whatever I want, and it's gonna be awesome.
Jodorowsky's Dune. Okay,
yeah.
And I'm just looking up on
that was the password in Russian Doll.
Yes. Okay, so he made Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He made Topo.
I saw that.
I never saw it.
No, I saw that on YouTube. That's amazing.
Okay, he did. I'm trying to think of like what has he done that. He did a lot of comic books, actually.
He didn't do the Sean Connery one, the weird Sean Connery one that we talked about?
Oh, he did do this. I saw this. Kaina, the Prophecy. I saw that. It was like a CGI film.
Oh, that's not like a Caillou property, is it?
No.
That'd be awesome.
He did a movie called Tusk. No, I guess not to be related to...
Right, that's the Walrus movie.
No.
But I know, but that's the name of the Walrus. I was trying to think of the name of the Walrus.
There's no relation to the Kevin Smith masterpiece.
Or the Fleetwood Mac song.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the Matrix. Where
Well, we got to bullet time and how bullet time. We'd kind of gone through the negative stuff, and we got through bullet time, which kind of revolutionized film for a little while.
I mean, it was definitely groundbreaking. Definitely watching it last night. Being 20 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, did it survive? I would say it ages well. There is some scenes where I was like, okay, the CGI is a little wonky.
Yes. Yeah.
But overall, it doesn't look bad. I think that, when you watch movies now, they're in like 4K or HD. They're not friends to old CGI.
No, they're not. They show all the flaws.
People talk about practical effects. Like, practical effects have like a tangibility to it, so people forgive it. And it's there, so it's like it feels there. But when something is like super detailed and it's old 20-year-old CGI, it's looks like 20-year-old CGI.
Yeah. I just saw something tonight on remember that movie Legend with Tim Curry as like Darkness?
The devil.
Yeah, the devil.
And he's got
Tom Cruise was in it.
Yeah.
Well, they showed him getting his gear on. It was on a friend of mine's Facebook page.
That must have hurt his back.
It looked brutal, but it was basically like 2 coffee cans strapped to his head, and then they put like paper mache horns.
So it wasn't that heavy.
Well, I don't know, man. It looked rough.
Yeah.
But like you could tell, like that had weight and grab.
Right.
What you had said before about even Akira being a cartoon. It had like physics and stuff. I mean, but a lot of the CGI like doesn't. It's like
no, like even like
and...
watching movies like I said, like Ghostbusters, where obviously the original one, where something was like a puppet,
right?
Versus watching the new Ghostbusters, I'm like, that 2016 one doesn't look like. Not to say that looks real, because that's a stupid comment. It's not real,
no.
But there's no weight to it, and the same thing with like even when I watch like a Transformers movie, like. There's some scenes where it's just like it doesn't feel like there's no weight. It's just like things are just flying, shit's flying, and
it feels like it should have more effort or groaning or so. It's hard to put into words. Well, like
I want more groaning in my Bumblebee movie.
Yeah, Bumblebee. All right, so is The Matrix like a consequential film? I saw like today, this morning on my way to work, I was kind of flipping through different articles like at stoplights and everything, which is super safe. And one of them said like I think one like American Film Institute at one point had The Matrix as like the 63rd best film of all time or so. It was like it seemed like
that's not bad. It's not great.
Does that seem accurate?
I think it definitely deserves to be part of some kind of top something.
I agree.
I think it. Like I said, those sequels are not very good.
Nope. But they don't diminish the original.
I think that there was enough time that came out from those, and the ending of The Matrix is satisfying enough that you can almost forget about those sequels.
If I'm like if Pixie, my daughter, when she turns like of age,
not a magical elf.
No, but when she turns like 15 or whenever she can watch The Matrix, I haven't thought about that. But like 12 probably.
Yeah,
I'll just say like let's watch the first one, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be like, look, we got to finish the trilogy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I feel like it's almost like okay, imagine if Star Wars came out and Empire sucked.
Right.
You could just watch Star Wars. Star Wars has like I said, there's some lines in the movie that. The Clone Wars and all that stuff.
Oh, but there's some,
but they're throwaway lines, and the movie, as its whole, its beginning, middle, and end.
Yes,
it has a satisfying ending. They literally blow up something, and he literally gets to be a hero in the end. And
it ends with an award ceremony.
He gets an award. Everybody's happy. The Empire's dead, as far as we know, or at least
Vader's spinning out of control.
What is it? Whoa! Like what a bizarre. I always think about that. Like someone brought up a good point about Star Wars, like how the problem with the prequels too. It's like so when you watch the first movie, Vader's like the main bad. He's not the main bad guy. Like he's like kind of just like a henchman.
He's the henchman to Grand Moff Tarkin.
Like he's like literally doing his bidding.
Yeah, he's subordinate to Tarkin. Who is subordinate to the Emperor.
Right.
Yeah.
I've read like expanded universe crap where they explain that like almost like that the Emperor was like punishing Vader. It was almost like a punishment that he had to be under
Tarkin.
Tarkin. Yeah.
Well, it was weird too because I don't mean to go down this road, but anytime anyone mentions Star Wars, all bets are off.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the original Star Wars, Tarkin dismisses Vader as almost like a priest, like you're strange religion.
No, he doesn't do that to him.
Tarkin
it's one of the guys. Oh, does he? Well, one of the guys says that the one he chokes. He's like, "You're out of religion." Like he's like when they're talking around. He's
really?
like,
"Yeah." You think that's Tarkin?
I'm sure Tarkin says something to him.
Something like superstition or something like that.
All of this. I should know this all. There's one guy who really questions him and calls him out for like whatever, and then he starts choking him.
Right. And Tarkin puts an end to it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the point being, like in the original Star Wars and A New Hope, it seemed like they were setting up almost like a division of church and state, where like Tarkin and the Emperor were like of the government.
Well, the Emperor, you don't even. He's mentioned a bunch of times. He's just some figure.
Never see him.
He doesn't show up till the third movie.
Yeah.
He's kind of like in the second one for a second when he's talking to him.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't really him in the second movie.
No.
They went back and edited him in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really corny. But yeah, like, he's not the main point of Star Wars. He's a bad guy, and he's definitely the marketing to be around him. He's cool looking and everything, but he's not, like, like 3 movies that they're turning him into like Space Jesus.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense because when you go to the 4th movie, he's like totally taken down a peg.
Yeah.
Like he's not like he's running the show in Empire.
Yes,
Tarkin's
absolutely.
dead, and
right.
he's kind of like he's running the show. Kind of.
Yeah.
He's the main.
He's the antagonist.
Yeah, he's the main antagonist in the 2nd movie. But like and then the 3rd one, the Emperor shows up, and again he's back to being like subordinate again.
Well, it's funny because like in the Matrix, Smith is the antagonist, right?
Well, okay, so Smith is like Vader in a way in the first one. And you think he's destroyed, though. Like,
yes.
But I guess he kind of... I don't know. Did they explain how he comes back?
No, but
he's almost like a virus.
Yeah, he's
like
a computer program.
He hates the Matrix. He kind of hints at it in the first one. It's my favorite scene in the Matrix.
Where he's talking about how they smell and
stuff.
That
Yeah, part. And then, like, Lawrence Fishburne is just, like, all sweaty and gross looking.
Yeah.
And his mind... He's just like... and he's like, I hate... the smell.
Yeah,
it's like
Hugo
the
Weaving.
Funniest scene.
Such a great line.
And he weaves those lines.
Yeah.
The Hugo Weaving. But Lawrence Fishburne just sweating and being weird, and he's like, and like looking, smelling.
Yeah.
He probably smells like
right.
Yeah. I hate yours. It's the funniest scene.
Well, it's such a visceral thing. Like you could actually
and
see
he wants
it, like,
out.
Yeah.
He wants to get out of the Matrix.
Right.
And
but where does he want to go? Like
he's like but that's what's interesting about it in a way. There's almost like another journey. Mm-hmm. He is part of the Matrix too.
Right, like
but
he
he's
can't go
like
into the real world.
Well, he does. Remember,
he takes
over a guy.
Yeah,
and that was the one thing about the 3rd movie I liked too. Was you remember how Neo gets blinded right in the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah.
He takes over one of the guys on the ship.
That's right. Yeah, and he like starts attacking people.
Yeah, and then he blinds Neo. He like really fries his eyes out.
Yeah,
right in the beginning, and I was like, "Whoa, that is." Like I said, I like the 3rd one.
Stakes are raised.
Yeah, the 3rd one. Yes. Well, delicious steaks.
What is it? Well, okay, so the 3rd one was Revolutions, right?
Yeah.
2nd one was Reloaded.
Yeah.
Right.
Reloaded sucked.
Yeah.
I like the 3rd one. People, I think, were so turned up by the 2nd one, they hated the 3rd one.
Well, that's the 3rd one
fair.
Is when they got a new Oracle, right? Because the woman who played the Oracle had passed.
Yeah, I was always like, okay, so the woman who played the original Oracle was awesome.
Yes. Oh,
and
yeah.
the 2nd one, not as good. And the thing I never understood about the recasting of her was just like, okay, I get it. Like, she could say, like... But wouldn't it have been better if she was recast as like a little kid?
I would have thought that. Like something completely different.
Yeah, you're a fucking talking cat. Garfield.
Yeah. Or like...
by Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Who keeps getting tricked.
Right.
They keep tricking him into thinking he's in a Coen Brothers film. One day I'm going to be in this Coen Brothers movie.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, they should have just... I don't know. The Oracle character I loved because... She's
a Yoda.
And she explains shit for you. She's like, look, okay, here's what's going on, and that film needed a little. I usually don't like exposition, but that film needed a little exposition.
She's what they call a wizard.
Yeah, right.
You ever watch Zizek?
I don't think so. No.
Zizek talks about he has this thing called like I saw him live. And then he also had like a documentary. It was called like The Perversion something Guide of Hollywood.
Oh.
And he talks about different tropes in movies.
Okay.
He talks about They Live, like with the fight scene where Roddy Piper fights the guy for 20 minutes.
Right, and it's supposed to go on so long. That's the point of it. Is it's like a painfully long.
Well, it's the point is to get somebody to see something they're not used to. I feel like we talked about this before.
I do because that sounds very familiar.
That might have been our lost episode. The other thing was that probably the producers were like, "You have a wrestler, use him,
wrestle,
have him wrestle." Right. Where's the wrestling?
It was like a Jacob and Esau. What was that? Not Jacob and Esau. What was that?
Cain and Abel.
What was the thing with Jacob's ladder? Didn't he fight an angel? Didn't he wrestle an angel all
Jacob's
night?
ladder?
Yeah, in the Bible.
I thought you were Tim Robbins movie. You're getting religious to me. I'm just thinking of Jacob's Ladder, the Tim Robbins movie.
Well, that was Jacob's Ladder, the Tim.
Too.
That's super.
That's almost like a Matrix too.
It's a very Matrixy film.
Except
you're right.
He was.
Dead
Spoiler.
Right.
This movie came out in 1986, so forgive us, please.
But he was dying in Vietnam the entire time.
He was like on a table, and he was imagining a future. And every time he would run into one of his veterans, they would always show that, and they would get killed. They revealed that was when they were dying on the table.
Right.
I saw that movie when I was really young.
I did too.
That blew my... But I was
it still does.
That blew my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that like a young Macaulay Culkin?
No, it was Tim Robbins.
No, like kid. He has a kid in the movie. It's Macaulay Culkin.
Who's the wife? The wife was someone famous too.
Was it
Maria Conchita Alonso? I'm kidding. It wasn't Maria.
No. Wasn't it? Well, I thought he
Danny Aiello was in it. I remember that. Tim Robbins was the lead.
Elizabeth Pena was his wife.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She passed away.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. Danny Aiello was. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He plays the guy who he has that famous line like, when you fight death, like it's like demons tearing at your soul, but when you accept it, it's
Kyle
like angels.
Gass is in the movie. Speaking of
son of a gun, a tenacious D.
Yeah, he's in the movie. And I guess he wore, according to he wore a crown in the movie. No, that's
this
just
is a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, that's a glitch in the Matrix. Yeah, the IMDb is a glitch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle Gass.
I'm sure he's like in it for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like.
Right, but that is a Matrix-y movie. I guess the Matrix. It seems so original.
There's been other movies where like alternate realities or what you're
Philip
seeing
K.
is
Dick.
not...
Did you ever read any of the Philip K. Dick?
No, I can't read.
He did Blade Runner. He wrote Blade Runner. He did Payday, that Keanu Reeves movie, right? Where he wakes up and he has like...
Was it the Linklater one with the cartoon movie?
Yep, A Scanner Darkly. He did that one.
Was that Keanu Reeves?
That was Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
And that also starred Robert Downey Jr.
Yep. And Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a Philip K. Dick one.
Well, the funny thing, we should probably wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
The funny thing about The Matrix was I didn't want to see The Matrix when it first came out for a while because I thought I already saw it already a couple of years before. It was called Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh, yes.
And I thought I was watching, it looked very similar. I really wanted to see Johnny Mnemonic when I was younger. Like, it came out...
It was bad, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it came out senior year of high school for me. It was like 95.
Sounds right, sure.
And, it was terrible.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, I gotta, like, rewatch it now. I know, like, Ice-T was in it, and, like...
Oh, I forgot about that,
like a dolphin, like a smart dolphin. And that movie played on, like, some anime tropes in it, too.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that based on a... Was that based on a manga? Or
it might have been, I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
It might have been, but, like, and the whole concept of the movie was that, like... You can like use your brain almost like as a hard drive or flash drive, and he like sacrificed part of his memory, and he wanted to get it back or something.
I only vaguely remember this.
And so when the Matrix was like first described, then I would see like footage because they ruined the Matrix. Because that would be the big reveal.
Yes,
I knew it was like a sci-fi type movie with like leather and glasses and all that. And I was like, shit. Keanu Reeves and he's in Johnny Mnemonic 2, and Johnny Mnemonic 1 was not very good. I was not interested in The Matrix until all that awesome advertising from Columbine.
Well, Jesus.
Great marketing.
Look, The Matrix, I remember seeing it in the theaters and loving it immediately, and I didn't think it was like revelatory or like this game changer, but I remember thinking it was so unique. But now, like in retrospect, I don't know that it was that unique. I think it was just a very stylized.
I mean, it's a style. It's got great lines in it, great actors in it.
Why do you think Carrie Ann Moss never became like? Because she was like super.
She was in other things though.
Well, she was in the Guy Pearce one.
Yeah, that starred Cypher. The guy who played Cypher. That actor is famous for being in like Goonies and a bunch of other stuff.
Memento.
Yeah.
Right. But she never became super big.
She showed up. She's been in like the Marvel TV shows and Netflix a lot. She plays a lawyer was on Jessica Jones.
Oh, you're right. Yes, she plays a lawyer in Jessica Jones.
And she shows up in a couple other shows. They canceled all those shows already.
I know. Yeah, I saw that this morning.
Yeah.
Well, she was kind of like relegated to genre television, I thought that
it could just be. Yeah, who the hell knows? I mean, people star in big movies all the time. It's like. Yeah, I love Total Recall, but where the fuck? I've never seen that lady in anything else from Total
Sharon
Recall.
Stone?
No, not Sharon. Who was this Sharon Stone lady? No, the one that he his main.
Yeah, his main. I don't remember her.
Have you ever seen her?
No, I couldn't even tell you her name.
Maybe you have seen her, you just don't know.
Right.
And I think it's just like one of those things. Some people just star in these giant movies. And they just don't. Yeah. They don't pick up somewhere else.
It seemed like Carrie Ann Moss was like primed at that point to be like kind of a sex symbol or a leading lady or a powerful actress in her own right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to. I mean,
right.
I like
yeah.
her, but I could see reasons why she didn't blow up.
Yeah, I guess so.
She didn't have that Julia Roberts.
No,
that cackle.
She didn't have you're right. She didn't have like a gimmick.
It's a pretty wooden character. I mean, when you watch The Matrix, you're told that she's an important character. But is she that great of a character?
Well, that was the other thing. Is like, look, if you look at the original movie poster, she's not on it. It's Fishburne, Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne. No, her body is on it. It's the three of them.
Oh, you're talking about the names.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's like Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne on one side, Carrie Ann Moss on the other side, and it says in big letters on the top, the two dudes.
The movie didn't say The Matrix.
No, it doesn't say like
two dudes.
No, but it says like.
Hey, what do you want to see tonight? The two
dudes. But like, she's not even mentioned. I'm sure she's like mentioned like in small print at the bottom. But so she wasn't really even like featured there. And then I read.
I don't think her character, if you think about it, even when you watch all three movies.
Well,
she's just like the love interest. And then when when you're told about her main like objective is just to be Neo's love interest. Yeah, which is really not. She's relegated. She's not really like that strong of a character.
She's a prop.
Anyone could have played that role.
I read the Wikipedia entry this morning, and I was like, it said Carrie Ann Moss, the love interest of Keanu Reeves, and I was like, and I stopped on that, and I was like, well, yeah, I guess she was the love, but I never kind of conceptualized. It wasn't even like a steamy love interest. It was like, hello, you're my girlfriend, so let's care about one another. Yeah. And then they did, and then that was...
We're going to end this soon, but my favorite thing about Matrix Reloaded...
Okay.
The flesh rave in the cave.
Oh, yeah.
That movie was so fucking stupid. I hated Matrix Reloaded so much. Like, Matrix Reloaded is like the Phantom Menace of, like, Matrix movies. So, like... Your second movie is supposed to be Empire. It's not supposed to be the Phantom Menace.
No, you're supposed to peak with the second. Yes.
The third one, and like I said, I feel like the third one gets a bad rap, but it's so much better than the second movie. Like I almost like want to just like edit the Matrix Reloaded to like 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
And you probably can edit it down to like a half hour before and have like a longer movie.
You could probably make all three, condense them into like a 5-hour miniseries.
I'll leave the Matrix. Yeah, sure, fine. Like you ever see what's his face? That actor. He's from 70s show. He's been in a lot of other things.
Are you talking about the dad in the
No, not Red. Not the guy from Little Cop.
Who are you talking about?
He's the kid.
Oh yeah, Eric Foreman.
Yeah, he was in Black Klansman recently, and
he's
been in a lot of things.
What's his name? It's not Topher.
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace.
What
yes.
a strange name.
Right, because
he did these like edits, and supposedly like he edited down the prequel trilogy to like all three movies into like 2 hours.
Oh, and
supposedly it's actually pretty.
I've heard of this. Yes, yeah.
And then he supposedly edited down The Hobbit.
Really?
I think the Hobbit movies, which are
that could use some edits.
Yeah, like he's done these like edits before, and I feel like he might have done the Matrix edit too.
Huh?
But like,
I'll check that out. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's to go back to the Matrix. Yeah, Matrix Reloaded. You know, there's like a scene in the beginning, and then they go to Zion. Finally, get to see it, and Zion's just like a big metal bullshit. They're like in a giant
very
cave
underwhelming.
Yeah. And people live like in huts or something, and there's like a ruling class starring that, which I find ironic that what's his face is like in it, and he's playing like a ruling class character. It's like I feel like he got tricked into playing that role. Colonel West.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he did. I think he was Colonel West. That's
Colonel West is my uncle.
He I think bought into that. I know for a fact because I read that Simulation and Simulacra, and I read Umberto Eco's Travels in Hyperreality. I was super into a lot of that when I was in like my doctoral program, and that was like a big deal. And I know they brought in those people like specifically, so he went into it with eyes wide open.
Well, I think he probably saw that, and it's like Zion's part of the revolution. But I was just like, but you're still fucking the hierarchy.
Yeah, that's
you're not
weird...
any different, and that's what that's why that movie was terrible. But then there's a scene where they have this bizarre flesh cave. Yeah, and then Aaliyah was supposed to be in the movie, and she died.
Oh right, yeah.
Her name gets brought up, unfortunately, for a reason. Modern day, because she died like 20 years ago. Yeah, she died making that movie.
She died.
They had to re-edit her. They had to edit her out, refilm that scene, and put in a different.
They
actress.
did like an Anne Rice adaptation.
Yeah, she played
Queen of the Damned or something. Yeah, and then
she was R. Kelly's wife.
Fucking that's
married
a tough
her when
way.
He was married. I think he married her when she was like 14 or 15.
There's something you don't want on your tombstone, right? Like this.
Just keep that in that closet.
Right.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know what it's... Yeah, in the closet. Yeah. That was an epic... Look, I'm not going to say... Gosh, a small part of me still wants to defend R. Kelly's In the Closet because it was like an epic piece.
Remember the part when he's like... There's like a...
I remember it all, so yes.
It's a midget.
Yeah, right.
I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching?
What are you even talking about?
This movie is insane. Yeah, someone got us the DVD recently, but okay.
Look, that's amazing. I mean, that if anything warrants a Criterion re-release.
Full. Yeah, the movie was shot with like a camcorder, but let's give it a 4K.
Sure. Yeah. Right,
clean
Criterion Collection.
Criterion Collection
with like a foreword by Sir Richard Attenborough.
Is it alive still?
I don't know. Let's do a CGI or whatever.
Yeah, CGI,
like a holographic one.
The little person.
Yeah. Yes.
Not the midget. That's a bad word. You don't say it.
And then you get like I don't know who's the guy who did Chocolate Rain.
Oh, that guy, the guy, the Chocolate Rain guy. That guy's like an amazing singer.
He's awesome, but he could redo it like it's Golden Rain, and it could be like the
Golden Rain. Oh, okay.
He likes
to get peed. Yeah, him and Trump got something in common.
Yeah, right. Oh, mercy.
Okay, so I'm
taking the red pill.
Take that red pill and let's end this. So Matrix Loaded, terrible.
Right. Is the Matrix a great movie? Well, this will be the ending.
I like the original Matrix.
It's a
really good movie. Does it hold up 100%? Almost. But I think almost. I mean, we could do a whole nother podcast about the Wachowskis, like Wachowskis. We get like their other movies. I would say that's their best movie.
Yeah, of course.
That is their best movie.
It's their defining feature.
They've done some other things that you could find some little
Cloud
gems.
Atlas had some cool stuff. Did they do Sense8? Was that them?
That show was not good.
It was. I wanted
Sense8
so much to like
was their show, and they were trying and I see what they were doing.
Yeah, I get it.
But the movie, you still have to make a good show.
You still gotta.
The show still has to be good, and it made no sense.
It was like a cinematic Ambien.
It was like they were trying to ride, they were trying to push like all these things, like look how multicultural characters are. Look at this, and that's
awesome,
great. And I celebrate great, whatever.
That's good.
But still, the show has to be good.
Yeah,
and it was not good. It was like it made no sense.
It was so
slow. Some of the things they did was fun, like the people with the senses, but the overall story. So there's like the story of the people discovering their senses and meeting each other in different parts of the world.
Right.
I enjoyed that part of the show.
Sure, yeah.
But there's this overarching plot that never gets explained 100%, and it makes no fucking sense. It never gets explained. And I feel like that's almost like what The Matrix Reloaded, and it's almost like The Matrix is like, you know how they say George Lucas had a lot of help in the original trilogy?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Especially Empire Return. Well, I feel like the Wachowskis probably had a lot of help in that first movie.
Probably.
And the second one, they ran it themselves more.
Yes. And then the studios, like with number 3, they're like, look, we're going to bring back...
Well, they shot them together.
Yeah,
they shot them back to back. I just think that, like I said, I wouldn't be minded.
Speed Racer, which
Speed Racer was just like crack. It was like way too much.
Yeah.
The ideas were good there and everything, but not.
I like him doing a speed
way too
racer.
stylized, like to the point where it doesn't look like the people are there.
Right.
And I always feel like, okay, if you're gonna do too much
Who
CGI,
is it? Matthew.
just make it a cartoon.
Yeah. Who was the guy from Lost who
The main guy, he played Racer X.
Matthew. No, he played Speed Racer, didn't he?
No.
Oh, he played Racer X.
He was Racer X. He's old.
Why the fuck didn't Speed Racer realize that Racer X was his long lost brother Rex?
You're trying to explain, like, it's like, why does Lois Lane know Superman's Clark Kent?
Well, the glasses.
Right,
Come on.
duh. Yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing. It's just like, oh,
yeah,
I'm a complete moron. Like, you're just Joseph, right?
Right.
You're wearing glasses.
No, not now.
Oh, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck is this?
Yeah, for the record, I just took off my glasses. I became like 10 times more handsome.
Yeah. Who the fuck?
Yeah.
My brain just exploded. It's like the movie. Oh, what's that movie where the guy's head explodes?
Scanners.
Yeah.
Scanners.
Yeah.
All right. Who is that? John Carpenter?
No.
No, that was Cronenberg.
Yep.
Cronenberg.
All right, I think we're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
All right. So I am Joseph K.
I'm Rob Israel.
And we are still going on about that.
Yep.